Hello and welcome to Biker Stories with Bike and Biker. This is Arjun. We have Rakesh and Areeb from the team as well. And today we're talking to Candida Louis. Candida, of course, a lot of you will know her from her travels around the world, literally. She is also known as, she used to be known as India on a motorcycle. I don't know if she still uses that handle anymore. She's traveled from Bangalore all the way to Australia on a motorcycle on a solo trip, which was last year. And she's done a lot of international rides, a lot of India rides, and we'll get to know her a lot better as we go through this discussion. Hi and welcome, Candida.
Thank you so much, Arjun. And yeah, you all have been such a great support on my India to Australia ride. So yeah, I'm glad to be on this talk show with you all.
Thank you. So, Candida, what's been keeping you busy with the lockdown? During the lockdown, what have you been busy with?
So the first one or 2 weeks were like more of rest days because I was traveling quite a lot, and I thought, why not rest it out? This is like the perfect time. But over the days, I realized that this is going to go on for a very, very long time. So that's when I started thinking of other ways to keep myself busy, learning new things, taking a few editing courses, video editing courses. Plus, I've been doing a lot of artwork just to get my head off what's happening all over the world. So yeah, just trying to keep myself busy and also like to to plan the next ride. This is like the perfect time. There's so much of time because I'm not the person that usually plans well in advance for a ride. So now I think I have a lot of time to do that.
So, where's Sky?
So I got to Hubli just one day before the lockdown, and because I have my cat with me, so we needed to come in a car. So that's why I had to leave Sky behind. So Sky is still in Bangalore, but I do have my other motorcycle in Hubli, which is known as Blue. So Royal Enfield Thunderbird. So
Okay.
I go riding with him.
So, who is somebody looking after Sky while you're here, or is it just
Yeah,
under
I
wraps?
kind of gave the keys to a friend that lives close by, but Sky wasn't started for almost 4.5 months, and I was really worried that when I go back, I would have to change the battery and do a lot of stuff on him. But he happened to go just day before to my house to check on Sky. But luckily, Sky started even after like 4.5 months, which is incredible.
That's really awesome.
So another question, kind of, where did it all start for you? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of followers be doing that, but all the new guys will be watching this. They all want to know where this motorcycle journey of yours start.
So like I said, I grew up in Hubli, and around Hubli, there's quite a lot of waterfalls and places that you could visit. So when I was in college, I had this group called Gratitude with like 12 people in it. So we would finish college by 11 and then go out riding from 11 to 5 every day. Because of all these waterfalls so close to Hubli, we used to ride quite often. And then from riding just 80 kilometers to it increased to 150. Then we started going all the way to Goa on our motorcycles, or even Activas, which Goa used to be about 200 kilometers. So that's how I got into this thing of traveling. But then this was like 12 or 13 years ago. And then when I shifted to Bangalore and started working at an IT company, that's when my dad gifted me a motorcycle for my birthday. And that's when I got like into full-time motorcycling after I quit my job and started riding. So yeah, I would say that I started motorcycling 13 years ago, but it's only been 5 years that I'm into full-time touring, and I've like converted my passion into my profession, is what I would say. Yeah.
So what do you ride now, Canada? And why have you chosen that ride?
So currently, I ride the Bajaj Domina, which is also known as Sky. And the reason why I picked up this motorcycle was I always wanted to own a BMW 1200 GS and ride that around the world. But when I wanted to do this ride from India to Australia, my budget was bare minimum, and I knew that the Domina, because of its reliability and power, that it would be sufficient for me, and I did not need a bigger motorcycle. And I could use that extra money to pay for my expenses rather than invest on a big motorcycle. And yeah, so that's why and yeah, the Domina was great during the whole trip, because I think it had enough power even in some of the fastest countries, like in Malaysia, people normally ride between 120 to 200, and they're really fast on the highways. But even though I had so much of luggage on the motorcycle, I could still keep up and constantly throttle at 140. So yeah, I don't know any other motorcycle in this category that could do it, and that comes with ABS, so good braking when I needed it the most.
Great. So you
Yeah, in
told
fact,
me about the BMW GS. So is that going to be your next bike?
No, but over the years, I've ridden the 1200 GS quite often, and which is why, because I get to ride it so often, now my eyes are like focused on the Africa Twin. And yeah, hopefully down the line I can afford to buy it and will soon own it. Yeah.
Adding to this question, Africa Twin, the 1200 GS. If money was not an issue, what would be your garage goals? What are the few bikes that will make it to your dream garage?
Yeah, I would love to have an Africa Twin. I would love to have a dirt bike, which is the KTM 6 days, um, just so I could ride in the forest and ride on a beach, and yeah, just go crazy on dirt. And so I would love to have a adventure bike, a dirt bike, and maybe like um, a road bike. So I don't know which one that would be, but maybe the Ducati or something like that. Yeah,
Which Ducati would you?
the Panigale.
That is
so
one
so I
beautiful
have a
Jeep.
question.
Yeah.
I have a question. Why do you like the Africa Twin more than the GS?
Because it looks a lot sleek, and because I think like when you're going off-roading and stuff, you can concentrate on the off-road and not really concentrate on changing the gears and stuff, because it's a automatic
Oh,
motorcycle. But yeah, um I don't know, because of all the different modes on the motorcycle, um I think it's not as bulky as the BMW. I think that's why I would like the Africa Twin, even though it's quite a heavy bike and not very light.
I think you've summed it up well. Yes, the bike is definitely more convenient to ride. The new version that is coming very soon, it just got postponed because of the COVID, is certainly an excellent bike. But let's say you decide to get the older one, that also is an excellent bike. But DCT definitely is very convenient to use. So I agree with you that I would also be partial to an Africa Twin.
But it's interesting to see how you're open to a DCT, because we've got a lot of people who keep telling us they don't want to try a DCT because it's automatic, and the fact that you're not engaging with the gear and the transmission takes away from the ride experience. So we've got a lot of people who keep saying that. I personally have ridden the Africa Twin last year for about 600 to 800 kilometers. I totally loved it. It was the DCT. But but have you ridden the Africa Twin? Have you tried the DCT? Have you seen how it is?
Yeah, so a lot of people told me that as well. And I used to think in my mind, why would someone buy an Africa Twin when it's automatic? But then I rode from Coorg to Bangalore with like both the panniers and the top box and another girl sitting behind me. And my God, it was so awesome on the highway. And there were like five guys chasing us on like different bikes. But then, and there was so much of things going around me, like there was so much of traffic, these five guys chasing me plus the weight. But I think because it was an automatic bike, I did not have to think too much. I don't know, but I think that ride was when I changed my opinion about this motorcycle. It was just so comfortable, and it's just another thrill of riding. And it takes time to get used to the motorcycle, but once you get used to it, then it's fun. But in the beginning I was like, where's the clutch, where's the clutch? But then after that it's fun.
Yeah, and I also feel this is one of those bikes that you really have to ride to realize how good it is, because this mindset that it's an automatic, hence I won't enjoy it. The fact that it's an automatic, but it has gears and it's not really 1100cc Activa, right? So it's not that you keep revving and it goes faster and faster. It is because you are, this the DCT is actually going through the gears as you would when you were riding. So that difference is huge, because that's what really still gives you that experience of the bike itself in terms of the gearing. And that's the game changer for me, really, the way that thing goes up and down the gears, and the fact that you've got paddles if you want to manually shift down or shift up if you really want to.
Yeah.
I think this is the maximum amount of appreciation Honda will get in any open forum.
So I've had my eye on the Africa Twin for a very long time, and the Honda guys back in Bangalore, when I recently picked up the BMW 850 GS, they gave me a lot of flack saying that, you've been talking to us about Africa Twin and then you got and bought the GS. I said, listen, I've still got something to look forward to. I still needed something which I could aspire to, because the GS, I mean, it's a great bike. But would I still want an Africa Twin? Sure, definitely. That's definitely on the card at some point.
That's the choice you make if you have the money. But if I do not have the funds, then I would definitely go in for a KTM 390 Adventure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's another great bike.
Great bike, yeah. In fact, we were just recently talking to Varun Painter, and he had so many good things to talk about that bike. It just does everything, he was saying.
Yeah, sure.
So Candida, what are the first things that you do when you buy a bike? So is there a set of accessories that you buy, or a set of things, the personalization of for me, it is that whenever I get a bike, I put a small Dit2 sticker and a VR46 sticker just to baptize it on as my own. Is there
The
some of the things
first
that you do?
thing that I did when I got Sky was go to Bike and Biker. Hopefully, when I get my next motorcycle, I would do that as well, because the shop has everything you can equip your bike with. And it's the closest shop to my house, so it's more convenient as well. But yeah, the thing that I put on the motorcycle as soon as I get is maybe add extra lights. And the Baja lights that I got are excellent. Like, I never thought that I would be riding in the night when I was doing the Australia ride, but there were a couple of times that I happened to ride in the night because I got lost or because I did not reach my destination in time, and so many other reasons. But those Baja lights, they definitely changed like night into day. That's what I keep telling everyone, because it was perfect. They would light up the entire road, and it was so easy and convenient for me to ride, not only through the forest and stuff, but even on the highways. So yeah, that's one thing. And um, yeah, I think what else did I get on the bike? I got a radiator guard added. I got the bark busters, which like did not damage the bike when a truck came and banged into me in Indonesia. Um, yeah, that really saved my motorcycle. And also the top box, it was really, really strong. So even though that truck came full speed and hit me, it just had a crack on it, but it did not really break. So I just put like tape and continued riding. Yeah, so then yeah, crash guards, saddle stay, and what else? Um,
You did a lot of things before you left.
fender. I
Uh,
got my fender changed.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
That's a quite extensive list of mods that you have done. So if you have to pick one of the best mods that you have done to your bike, I'm thinking that those were the squadron lights, the Baja
Yeah,
squadron.
those are the Baja lights, and um, yes, definitely the Baja lights and the bark busters. Best quality, best.
All right. So what else generally you
Oh no
do to
no no
take
no!
care?
One
Oh,
last
okay.
thing, one last thing. I completely missed this, but yeah, the fuel filter that I got from Bike and Biker as well. So riding through 10 different countries and so many different fuel stations, you never know the quality of
yeah.
the petrol. And the fuel filter that they gave me was so convenient. It was so small and portable. So every time I was filling fuel, I just had to put the filter and make them pour it into the filter. And I could see uh, the what you say,
Impurities.
yeah, the impurities, and I would throw it right away. So I could see which petrol bunk was bad and which was good. So yeah, so that was nice. And because of that, I never had any problems with the motorcycle and never had to change any of those parts. So yeah, that was one of the excellent product that I got. Yeah.
So other than that, kind of what are the basic things that you do to take care of your bike? Is there a set of things that you follow, procedure that you follow to take care of your bike?
So when I'm riding, it's mostly after every 500 or 600 kilometers that I clean my chain and lube the chain. And I was using the Maxima chain lube, which was awesome. And sometimes I do not even do it for like 1,000 kilometers, but no problems with the chain. And yeah, just regular oil changes every 5,000 or 6,000 kilometers. And yeah, tightening the chain. Um, then, oh yeah, tightening the bolts on my top box, like the bolts that support the top box and the panniers, just making sure that they're tight most of the time so they don't fall off. And uh, yeah, other than that, I do not have to do much. Just like I
So,
said, the Domino is very reliable that way, and I do not really have to do anything. Like, to give you an example, when I met this group of motorcyclists in Myanmar and in Thailand, like every day when we would reach our destination, they would like have to like clean their bikes and open it up fully and put it back together because they had so many issues like constantly. But I would go around the city exploring once I got to a place, and I did not have to do much to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think
uh,
Arif, you may not remember or know, she went through a session with Bajaj guys here in Bangalore for maintenance and so minor repairs, etc. So I think he took classes, right, Canada?
Yeah, I wanted
So
it to be a 1 month class, but it was only like a 2 day course. But
yeah,
yeah, but I learned on the road, and every time something if like something happened, like when my brake lever broke, that time you have all the time in the world, so you tend to figure things out on the way. So yeah.
No, I remember you cleaning up your bike before entering Australia, and I think you had to clean it up completely and open it up. You had to get every bit of dirt out because they don't allow the soil to be transferred.
Yeah,
So,
Australia has extremely strict quarantine laws, which say that there's no dust, no dirt, no insects or anything should be anywhere on the bike. So, which requires a motorcycle to be like brand new condition. And I had only 3 days of time to pack my motorcycle and put it on the ship. So it was the most difficult thing I've ever done because I've never opened out my bike completely and put it back together. And the Australian laws even say that the engine has to be, they sometimes they even open up the engine and check it. But I did not want to take a risk and do that. But whatever was visible, I managed to clean everything. And yeah, and even after I put everything back together, I had like 4 or 5 screws left. And then I was like, what is gonna happen? Some parts might start falling off, but luckily till today I've never had to put them back. So
So you don't, till date, you don't know where those screws came from.
nope.
Okay.
so look at it very ironically. That's the reliability of a Dominar, and it is an offspring of a KTM 390. So you can imagine what a good job Bajaj guys have done.
So, Kanda, what are the plans post lockdown? Are you planning on a big ride, just like the Australian Odyssey?
Yeah, I was planning on a big ride and I was supposed to start in June, but I don't think that's happening this year. So all plans are going to be pushed for next year. But then hopefully, if things get better, then I would be riding in the US from August to October. I still don't know if that can happen, but maybe at least a month of riding over there. Yeah.
So we are looking forward with the U and Sky ripping up the US streets.
No, I can't take Sky to the US because it's a lot of work and a lot of money. So I prefer like flying to the US and renting out a motorcycle or taking one of my friends' motorcycles and riding around. Yeah.
Okay. Kanda, other than that, how all this motorlogging journey started? So you told me that you were working in a corporate firm before that. When did you decide that you're going to quit your job and pursue this dream of riding motorcycle full time?
So in 2015, I started hating my job and I took a 3 month sabbatical to go on a ride around India. And for 3 months, I rode from North India to South India. And then I went back to work. And I think the second day of me being back uh, at the Infosys office, when I was looking out my window and just looking at the trees and the sky and the birds out there, I was like, I want to be out there and not stuck in an office. And that's when I called my mother and told her that you got to trust in me and give me 1 year's time. And if I can't do something in the motorcycle industry, I'll definitely come back to my finance job. So that's what I did. I put down my papers. I served a 2 months notice period and then went on to ride around India again for 4 months. And this time I went and did west, east, again North India, and came back to the south. So it was altogether 32,000 kilometers and 22 states in 2015. And then when I got back to Bangalore, I was looking for a job in the motorcycle industry, but all I could get at that time was a sales manager or something like that in the showroom. And I do not want to do that because I would be stuck in a showroom again and not get to actually travel. So then, with all the content that I had created during these 7 months of riding, uh, initially I would like send pictures and videos to each of my family individually, all my aunties and uncles, and that was getting quite hectic, especially since at that time the network used to be not so fast. So that's when I created my Facebook page, and I started posting the pictures and videos every day over there, and told them that if you want to know what I'm doing, where I'm at, this is where you'll find all the information. And yeah, so it was only for friends and family, but slowly it kept on increasing, and I think within a year I had about 10,000 people that were following my journey. And then yeah, and then I realized the importance of social media, because like I told you, when I started writing 12 or 13 years ago, I never would click any pictures. I would like be so much in the moment and enjoy everything that I would hardly take any pictures. But when a big brand in 2016 refused to give me like a pair of gloves and a motorcycle jacket when I met with an accident, that's when I realized the importance of social media and numbers. And that's when I told myself that I would work really hard and build my social media following, and then the brand will come to me and ask me to promote them. So yeah, that's how it started for me. And yeah, I'm just going with the flow. I never knew that social media could bring in money, but I'm learning uh, on the way. Every day is a new experience. There's a lot of different ways out there that um, can help keep me traveling and keep me riding in the future. Yeah.
That's one epic journey, kind of. So,
So
other than that, kind of, yeah, Arjun, you were saying something.
yeah, why don't you tell us about your Bangalore, Australia journey? Why don't you give us some juicy details about that trip?
Yeah, so because the India to Australia ride was recent, so there's quite a lot of like stories and hype created about that ride. But yeah, um, this ride was in memory of a boy named Alistair Farland, who was on a motorcycle world ride, and he met with an accident and died in North America. And he was the same age as me. And when I went to the US for one event, I got to know quite a lot about him. I was really inspired by him and his parents, because his parents, even though they lost a son, they're still very, very supportive of youngsters out there and encouraging them to travel the world and uh, encourage more people to see the world and just enjoy what our beautiful world has to offer. So that's when I realized that instead of randomly riding from India to London, which had always been a dream, I would ride from India to Sydney so that I could finish the ride for Alistair, because it's like every parents dream that if their son or daughter goes on a world trip to come back home safe, and he couldn't finish the ride. So that's why I thought I would finish it for him. And that's when I started planning this journey. And initially, I did not know how I was going to do it. I thought I would do it on a bicycle because I did not have enough funds. But then I think I believed in this dream a lot, and everything just kept happening. Like, I think I met you all guys just uh, 3 weeks or something before I left, and you all helped me so much in those last days in setting up the bike, uh, and yeah, and the same thing happened with my gear. The same thing happened with a lot of things. So until the day I left, I did not know that I was actually doing this right. And only once I started the ride, and once we were at Vidana Sauda, and when I realized that so many people were supporting this whole thing of mine, that's when it struck me that this is actually happening. And now that I don't have to just do this ride for me and Alistair, but do this for all the people in Bangalore that came for the flag off, as well as around the world that are supporting me. And that's when I started riding, and I had a whole month of riding to do till I got to the Myanmar border. And then, yeah, I met 10 other incredible motorcyclists from different parts of the world, and we crossed Myanmar together. And then I explored Thailand. I went on to Laos, Vietnam, back to Laos, and into Thailand again. And then I rode through Malaysia, where I got my bike like serviced, like a big service, because it was halfway. And then I rode to Singapore and back to Malaysia, and then took a ferry to Indonesia. And then I was like island hopping between the different islands through Indonesia. And once I got to Bali, I put my motorcycle on the ship to Perth, Australia, and then rode from Perth to Sydney. And yeah, initially this was supposed to be just a 4-month ride, but it ended up being an 8-month ride, because on the way I realized that if I wanted to do it fast, I wouldn't be I don't think it would be fair, because I wouldn't be experiencing things the way I did on this 8-month ride. I wouldn't be able to help people on the way, and I wouldn't have fun. It would just be riding, riding, riding all the way. So I'm glad I took time. I am glad that I stopped at places that I enjoyed the most. And yeah, and the unforgettable moment was reaching Sydney at the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and Alistair's parents waiting for me over there, and like all my friends and family as well over there. So excited that I made it, and yeah, unforgettable memories. So that's just brief of the big ride.
Incredible. I think it was an incredible job you've done. I have a very pointed question.
Yeah.
You know, being a girl, being a woman, you're traveling all alone, and a lot of times you've been riding all alone and probably parking yourself alone. How was that experience across these countries?
So through India, I hardly ever felt alone, because I have this huge following on social
That's
media,
right.
and everyone knew where I'm going to be the next day, or kind of estimated where I'll be riding through on these days. So even though it was a solo ride, I could never say it was a solo ride, because even when I would stop in random villages and all, and I would take off my helmet, then guys would get really curious as to what this girl is doing here alone. And they would come and start talking to me. So yeah, riding through India, there was a lot of people that I met. I stopped at a lot of schools and colleges and gave talks. I met a lot of motorcycle clubs on the way. So yeah, I never ever felt alone or lonely. The same thing happened in Malaysia as well, because Malaysia and Indonesia, because there's a lot of motorcycle clubs over there.
Mm.
The only time that I felt really alone was when I was in Australia and I was camping for the 2 months that I was riding.
Yeah.
And there were some days that I never saw anybody for 4 or 5 days, and just camping in the bush in the middle of nowhere. That is like memories that I'm never going to forget. I remember the first day that I was camping in the bush, and I thought I would go out of the tent to look at the stars. And as soon as I opened the zipper of the tent and I looked up and all I could see was eyes everywhere, and that freaked me out. But then I'm like, calm down, there's nothing. And then I realized what possums are, and
Yeah.
yeah, then I kind of like made a lot of friends, um, animal friends when I was in Australia. A lot of kangaroos would come hopping by the tent, a lot of snakes and scorpions and beetles and stuff like that. So, like I said, you're never really alone. There's something or someone or even a ghost sometimes is always around. So, yeah,
You believe in ghosts?
I kind of seen a couple and heard a few. So, yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. That would be something very interesting to hear about. But before we hear about that, my question is, this entire trip that you took 8 months, and you came back to India, and then your Sky followed you back on a ship or something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think what did you gain as a person or change as a person with this entire experience? What do you think was the major takeaway?
A lot actually. I've learned to trust people a lot more. Um, I've learned to be very, very patient, because when you're doing these big overland journeys, that's the most important thing. You can't lose your temper. You gotta handle every situation um, with a cool mind. You can't take bad, rash decisions, and yeah, and like I said, just trust, learning to trust people, so you're safe. And sometimes the best experiences come when you trust a random person.
Hmm.
And yeah, and always say your prayers and believe that there's someone, something protecting you. So I think that's what I've learned.
I think what you've done is incredible as a woman alone on the road for. And I know Australia is so lonely because there's no population in that massive land. While it looks very small on the map, it is huge. Uh, Respect for that, and I think a lot of people would be thrilled to hear that you came back safe. While you were away, I think Arjun kept in touch with you once a while, and we kind of knew that okay, Candida has reached somewhere. So I
Yeah.
would once a while ask him where is she, and Arjun would tell me about that. But yeah, I think these trips. I have never done a solo in my life, so that's why I was asking you these questions. When you're riding solo, what are your thoughts? What changes in you? And it's something
Yeah,
incredible.
but I think you should definitely experience a solo ride,
Yeah,
because when you're in a group, you're always dependent on the other person, even if you don't think about it, but at the back of your head, you know that there's someone always there. So your mind doesn't really work too much. And when you're in a group, like other people don't tend to come and talk to you as much as they do when you're alone. And that's how you build more, you build your, like, you get more friends in different countries, and
yeah,
yeah, stuff like that.
awesome, absolutely awesome.
Okay, I don't think that not only as a woman, I think a lot of bikers have not done that. So
Exactly.
it's great having you as one of our member of this steam biking community.
Thank you.
So other than that, so you told me that before going to Australia, you got in touch with Bike and Biker. When was the first time you heard about Bike and Biker, and how has your experience been with us?
I'm not sure, was it 2018 or so? Yeah.
Probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
the
was.
2018 April, I think the day when I went to the Bajaj showroom to book my motorcycle, that's where I met Srijit, because he owns a Domino as well.
Yeah.
And then he was the one that told me that he works at the Bike and Bike. No, actually, I saw his motorcycle parked out of the showroom, and I was like, this bike has some amazing mods on it, and I should definitely go check it out. And then I went and spoke to Srijit, and then he told me that he works at this motorcycle store, and that's when he introduced me to Arjun and Rakesh, and yeah, that's how I got to know about Bike and Biker. Yeah.
So
In
how
fact,
was your experience
Arib,
with?
we spent 3-4 days from morning to evening to get that whole
Yeah,
thing moving.
and Bike and Biker was not like any other shop, because these guys are super friendly, and there were times when these guys would actually do the work themselves, like fit everything on my motorcycle themselves, and they do not actually go and call a mechanic or get someone else to do it. Even the fender that I got from a
Oh,
company
yeah.
in Pune, Rakesh actually cut it to the way I wanted it.
And
So,
she just copied your design, by the way, to get the same beak on your.
so I'm very jealous of Rakesh's tools. He has a lot of nice tools, and I think he can fix anything.
Yeah, in fact, it was fun, and at the same time, I was incredibly worried about you because somebody so young and, in my view, so naive at that point of time was leaving alone. So I used to wonder how you're going to do this, but I have nothing but admiration for you at this point of time. When you got back, I was like relieved. I think there was a part of me which was constantly tense about, you're on some unknown land, and now that you're back, we felt extremely proud of you. And I'll tell you, not only me saying that, the biking community feels that you've done something which nobody else could even dream of. So hats off to you, Canada. You've done even so, I would make a sexist remark. Being a woman, you've done that, which many men have not done. Awesome.
Thank you, Rakesh.
In fact,
Compliment means a lot.
I remember the last minute hiccup also during
Oh,
the
yeah.
flag off in whatever NH, whatever that place is called. I don't remember the name of the place. NH.
That was my mistake. Okay, Arjun kept on telling me take the horn from our shop, but I went and bought horn from some other
What
shop, and
stopped
I
working?
fixed
Oh,
it. And on the first day it stopped working. It's because I went and washed my motorcycle the day before I left, like a power wash. So yeah, so we had to get that fixed on the first day. And then
I
and,
couldn't make it
and
to
the
your
worst
flag.
part about that horn was it kept stopping in places that I needed it the most. Like, which is like,
Na,
Malda and Faraka, which is like
Oh yeah,
oh,
full
that's
trucks, where I needed the most.
yeah.
And then in Indonesia, when I needed the most, and it would work in places that I don't need a horn, like Bhutan in Australia.
so
Uh,
now I actually now it comes together. Your comment about how this ride taught you patience, that certainly counts, because if you don't have a horn, the only way to deal with it is patience. There's nothing else you can do,
no, in
especially
fact,
through if you're going through Malda and Faraka.
oh,
That's just probably the worst motorable roads
why
in
why
India
you
in terms of
screaming
traffic.
Canada at people? Get out of the way!
I can't really scream and shout. Yeah, sometimes I wonder how I do these things myself, because everyone thinks I'm this really quiet, uh, I don't know, innocent girl and that can't do anything herself. Yeah, so it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you met somebody and they didn't know you were riding like this, I don't think maybe after the first two meetings they'd believe you if you told them, you know what, I've ridden from Bangalore to
Oh yeah,
Australia. I very seriously doubt somebody will believe you if you told
I
them
think
that after meeting them a few
Canada
Yeah, I get that quite a lot.
times.
Canada is very unassumingly a non-biker looking person. I mean, you come across as a very gentle, and you're not capable of, I think, shouting across your lungs, saying that get out of the way. No, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, I keep getting people asking me where are my tattoos and offering me smokes when I don't have any of those.
Yeah, there is a stereotype. But yeah, that's why we were very happy that you went across and safely came back. That meant a lot to us, and we hope that this year opens up soon, and you are back to riding your long rides, and someday you do India London also. Who knows? Maybe you will.
Yeah, hoping I can do it soon.
Yeah.
So it's been great talking to you with Canada. Just last question. Is there any message that you want to give the upcoming riders, the upcoming women riders who are obviously take you as an inspiration? What would be your message to these guys?
Not really a message, but I would say that if you believe in something and if you really want to pursue your passion of like riding motorcycles, then just do it. Take that first big step and start, and that's when you will actually learn and learn with experience. And don't think all of this comes easy. It's a long road. It's very, very tough, but keep working hard and dreaming big. And I think things will eventually come to you. And yeah, dream big, work hard, and have fun on the road.
Sure.
Great advice, Canada. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me on this Biker Talk show.
Sure.
Biker Stories.
We just hope, Canada, that things open up soon, and this COVID is going to practically last for some time. But we do hope for the best, and you make travels once again. And I do hope you get your Africa twins soon.
That's kind of difficult, given that motorcycling is my full-time job, traveling is my full-time job. Now I'm left with nothing but hope that things will get better. So I don't think I would be able to buy that motorcycle for at least a year, but hopefully soon.
We hope so soon.
So before you go, let me just ask you this one question. How badly are you missing burgers?
Oh, you have to remind me of the burgers.
The truffles ones.
Yeah, so that's why I love coming to Bike and Bike store, because Arjun will order these massive burgers, and yeah, and then we sit together and like, oh yeah, I haven't had a burger in like 5 months now.
Wow.
Don't even know how you survived that.
It doesn't have like any burger joints that are delivering right now, so yeah.
We'll see you back in Bangalore, and we'll definitely order a truffles for you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Canada.
Thank you so much, Candida. Thank you for joining us today.
Take care.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you.